I'm good.
Really excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I really look forward to hearing your presentation. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is that there are some people who's just the registry, so I'm gonna send them an email with our today's Zoom link. So just give me 1 sec, and I'll start the meeting. I don't want them to.
Sure.
I hope they all come. Yeah, Harvard Business School Online, we have a portal. So I just promote, host event and send them emails. Okay, so I have done that. It's 12:06 and I'll just start now. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. So I'll introduce myself. I am Cindy. I'm the chapter organizer for Harvard Business School Online, and I'm also the founder and CEO of One Healing Space. So Laura and I, we actually met on we first met on LinkedIn, and then we met virtually through Zoom. So Laura has introduced me the work that she had done before. I was super impressed. I don't know if I'm at the right position to say this, but yeah, she is so great. So I'll introduce Laura. So Laura has worked in healthcare for I think almost 20 years before. So she was the director at Ontario Cancer Center, and she worked in the hospital for a lot of years before. So right after, after she had a lot of work experience in healthcare, she was hoping to understand what's the meaning of work. So this get her into her current position, which is coaching younger generation who wants to have a career at healthcare, especially women. But we have men who's joining us today. It's still a good presentation to tune into and understand how to design your next chapter and how to create a powerful new phase in your life. So I'm gonna invite Laura to speak to us. And today we will also have a breakout room session so we can talk with each other and know more about each other. Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cindy, and thank you for that great introduction and those warm words. I'm so excited to be here with you all today and tell you more about designing your next chapter and how you can build a life you love. So I want to just quickly share with you an overview of what we'll cover today. So just a sec here, I'll flip to my slides. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So today we're going to cover why it's worth your time and attention to think about your next step. And I'm going to share with you a process to get clear on where you want to go next. We'll talk a little bit about how people hold themselves back, because I don't know about you, but I do that all the time. And so we're going to do a breakout group today to give you an actual opportunity to blast through some of those things that are holding you back. And so when that time comes, I invite you, unmute yourself, put your camera on, use this as a great opportunity to network, to get to know other people in this organization and other people that are going through the same stuff you are. Because let's face it, we're all going through some stuff right now, and it's not easy with everything going on. I'm also going to share with you some inspiring stories of people that have taken the leap to create the life they love. And so I invite you today also, I'm going to make this really interactive and invite you to enter words in the chat box and to tell me how things are going for you. And so I invite you now just to take a minute, pop into the chat box, introduce yourself. So let's share your name and where you're calling in from today. And that would be a great way for others to start to get to know you just a little bit. So go ahead, do that now. So, today I'm talking to you about how to design the next chapter. It wasn't always like that for me. As Cindy mentioned, I spent many years in healthcare. working my way up the ladder, always looking for that next job, thinking that once I get that next bigger title, once I get that bigger scope or sense of responsibility, then I'll be happy. And what I found was I would move from job to job and organization to organization. And in fact, none of those things that I was after ever made me happy. And then I was let go. I was let go from a job I thought I would hold on to until I retired. And I was just devastated. I holed myself up in my home office. I isolated myself from friends and family. I would listen to podcasts, I would read books, and I'd go to yoga. And the only thing I could think I really wanted to do was actually do my yoga teacher training. And the side of my MBA side of my brain said, that's ridiculous. You're unemployed. You're not spending $3,500 on yoga teacher training. And so I did nothing. I was totally stuck. And it wasn't until I read a statistic by University of Pennsylvania researcher, Dr. Marty Sigelman, where he said that only 10% of your happiness is due to your circumstances, that I woke up. Think about it. Only 10% of our happiness is due to our circumstances. Here I was blaming everything on the circumstance that I was in. Oh, I'm miserable because I don't have a job. Oh, I'm miserable because this didn't work out. The reality was I didn't know how to make myself happy. I didn't know the practical things I could do every day to make myself happy. So in that moment, I decided I needed to do something different. And so I went and signed up for my yoga teacher training, and that helped me become unstuck. And as soon as I had done that, the very next week, I signed up for a course in the science of building a thriving life. How do you build a thriving and meaningful life? I didn't know, but I was determined to learn it. So I went back to school to figure it out. And then I went on to take my coaching. And then I went to study with one of Tony Robbins' top trainers to do some master coaching. And so now I've created for others the program I wish I had had, the one that helps you define and design your next step when you're in that place where you're stuck. And so that's how I came to this place. And I want to reassure you that if you're feeling stuck, it's okay. I've been there. I know what it's like. And let's talk today about how we can help you get unstuck and get moved forward. So what do I hear people say? I hear people say, I'm stuck. I don't know what I want to do. I know I don't like it where I am, but I have no idea what else I would do. Sometimes they'll say, I've worked really hard and I've reached all my goals. Is this all there is? I've worked all these years and this is it. Or some people might say right now, you know, with COVID, what's the point? Why do I even bother to move forward with anything right now anyways? So I want to tell you that it does make sense to move forward now. And it's totally normal for us to be stuck in times of uncertainty. So what I'm showing you here is a cross-section of the brain. And there's neurobiological reasons that we feel stuck right now. As most of us might agree, we're under stress. And so if you feel under stress right now, I'd love you just to type a yes in the chat box. Tell me if you're stressed. When we're under stress, this gold part on this brain lights up. The gold part is the limbic system. That's the ancient part of the brain. That's the ancient part of the brain that controlled our fight, flight, or freeze response. So when we were hunters gatherers and there was a rustling in the bushes behind us, that was the part of the brain that leapt into action so we could fight, flight, or freeze away from that danger. The problem is right now, most of our stress isn't stress that we need to run from. It's actually stress that we need to engage the newer part of our brain in order to solve. It often has to do with complexity and creative solutions and innovation. And when we're in that fight, flight, or freeze response, we actually don't have access to the part of our brain that results or that allows us to do that creative problem solving. And so that's one of the challenges we're facing right now. So in order for us to move forward, we need to get out of that fight or flight or freeze response. We need to feel more calm. We need to lower that stress response. So how many of you know how to lower your stress response? Maybe you can put up your hand. There's a function on your computer there where you can put up a hand if you say yes. So show me your hand and put your hand up if you know of ways to get out of stress right now. Are you familiar with any ways to get out stress? I'd love to see a few hands there. I haven't seen any yet. So does that mean that, oh, there's one. Thank you, Pretty. Thanks for joining in. So, oh, here I'm jumping ahead. So I'd love it if you join in, just type in the chat box how you get out of stress. There, Viloria, thank you. How do you guys get out of stress? Just type it in the chat box and share with others how you get out of that. I'd love to hear. So lots of people in stress. I see that. Thank you for sharing that. Jogging, taking deep breaths, meditation, yoga. Beautiful. All those answers are great ways for us to get out of stress. So thank you for sharing that. Cooking, yes. I disassociate by taking a break. Beautiful. Yeah. So those are all practical ways. Hiking, that's a beautiful example where we get out into nature. Nature actually helps us to see a bigger perspective and it lowers our stress response. It's very healing. And in some countries, they actually prescribe what's called forest therapy, getting into the nature. So all of those things are great ways to get out of stress. And so if you're starting to think about what's next for you, think about doing something beforehand to help lower that stress response so that you're in a better place so you can access your creativity. So sometimes when I do this presentation in a longer format, I actually lead people through one of these exercises. It might be a quick meditation or some deep breathing in order to lower that stress response. But today we just have an hour and we're going to do a breakout room. So I'm not going to lead you through that today, but all of those ideas would be great ways to do that. So the good news is there are ways to get through this, there are ways to get out. And the first one is getting out of the stress response. And then the second thing I'd like to share with you is a 4-step process that I've developed to help people get where they want to go. So the first one is about mindset. So the first step is about blasting away limiting beliefs, fears, and anxiety to actually rewire your neurobiology, providing a foundation for success. The second step is about creating clarity of the vision. Create your unique vision about where you want to go and take steps and explore the most exciting options. Test them out. The third step is about creating momentum. Take action towards your vision. By action, you generate even more confidence and even more excited, and it gives you more information to get more clear on your vision. The fourth step is about success, habits for success. So most of what we do every day is actually habitual. We don't consciously think about it, whether it's brushing your teeth or taking the same route to work, or maybe the same route now to your computer for work. We don't actually think about it. We just go through a step-by-step process, which is habitual. So by being conscious about our habits, by choosing habits that support our success, we can be more intentional and we can be more likely to reinforce the steps we need in order to get where we want to go. So let's talk about vision. So vision is about having clarity, about understanding where it is you want to go. And today I'm going to share with you 5 different ways you can get clear on your vision. So the first one is about visualizing. And I'm curious, have any of you ever visualized before? Now, I'm going to take us through a really quick one together, just to give you a sense of what this looks like. I'm seeing another hand up there. Thank you. Okay, so if you're open for this, I would invite you to sit up nice and tall in your chair, feet flat on the floor, your shoulders over your hips, your spine nice and tall. It's almost like a meditation position if you've used that before. It's almost like there's a string pulling your head up towards the ceiling. And as you're there, maybe here, I'm going to stop share so you can see me. So if you want, you can pin my video to the center so that you can see me in a bigger view if you want. And what I'd like you to do is just put your hands either on your thighs upward or downward and close your eyes or create a soft gaze down to the ground. And now what I'd love you to do just for a moment now is to start with a nice deep breath in and out. Beautiful. And now I'd like you to think of a time when you were successful, when you achieved a goal that you were so excited about. Perhaps you were receiving an award, perhaps you had just graduated, perhaps you were just relishing in the accomplishment of some achievement that you had been looking for or working towards for some time. And I just want you to get into that feeling of what that feeling was like. How did you feel? Did you feel unstoppable? Did you feel full of energy? Were you excited? Were you so proud? Were you enthusiastic? What were the feelings that you were feeling? Now, I'd love you to take those same feelings and imagine a time 5 years from now when you're stepping up onto a stage and someone is about to give you an award for your accomplishments. So in 5 years from now, you are about to go up on this stage and be recognized by the Prime Minister of Canada. Okay, so you're about to go up on the stage. Everybody is cheering. You're hopping up onto that stage full of energy. You're thanking the crowd. You're bowing down and you go to accept this award. And as you accept that award, I want you to think about what actions were required for you to get there. What were the key things that you did to get to that place? You've always heard about the 80-20 rule. 20% of the things get you 80% of the results. So what were the 1 or 2 key things you did that helped get you to that place where you're being celebrated and celebrating your own success? Yeah. And as you're there on stage and you're noticing what you're seeing around you, you're noticing the vibrancy of the colors, you're noticing the sounds around you, you're noticing what you're hearing, seeing, feeling, and you're building all of that to a peak, making it even more loud, more clear, more vibrant. Are you ready? On the count of 3, we're going to double it. 1, 2, 3, double it. Yes, imagine getting that award, how exciting that is. Feel it in every cell of your body. Yes, you did it. All that hard work paid off. Yes. Now I want you to take a minute and I want you to thank the 2 people who have been most critically supportive in you getting there. Take a moment and just acknowledge who those people were and thank them for how they supported you. Are you ready? Do that now. Yeah. Beautiful. And then the second person. In a minute, we're going to leave this place. And so now I'm going to give you an opportunity. If there's any other information that you'd like from this place of 5 years in the future, I'd like you to get that information now. So go ahead, ask yourself, what is it, the information you'd like to gather before we leave right now? If there's nothing new, nothing else in addition that you need right now, that's just fine. But if there is, feel free to gather that now. And then I'd like you to take a nice deep inhale, fully inhaling this experience and cementing it in every cell of your body with a nice deep inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, and coming back to the room. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I'd love you to type in the chat box, what came to you during that visualization? It might be a vision you had about a person. It might be a step you needed to take. It might be clarity on where you were headed. Just take a minute now and just write in the chat box what that was. Beautiful. Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to another tool that you can use right now at home to help with getting clarity on your next chapter. Now, you may find some of these tools resonate with you more than others. So maybe the visualization didn't resonate with you and you'd like to try another one. Here's 4 more options. The second one is called journaling. Many of you have heard of that. There's a great book called Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, where she talks about journaling every morning. as a way of kind of unveiling what's in your unconscious mind. Perhaps you set a timer for 10 minutes and just write whatever comes to mind. Perhaps you ask yourself questions and you journal the response to those. This is a great way to tap into your unconscious and to uncover what it is that you want to do next. The third step is creating an understanding of your current and future state. And I love doing this with pen and paper, with colorful markers and drawing. I draw a line right down the middle of the page, and on one side I put current state, on the other side I put future state. I draw my current state and I draw my future state. And I want to tell you that it doesn't matter at all what this looks like. This is not about how you draw. This is accessing your subconscious mind in a way that's easier than it is when we try to think through things out. So that creativity helps. When I first did this tool, on the left side, I had myself sitting at a desk in my current state. My future state had all sorts of things there. It had pictures of me hiking up a mountain. It had pictures of me in a group around a bonfire. I had myself hanging in a hammock. I had pictures of palm trees, a passport, stacks of cash, a book and a passport there, giving me all clues to my future self. So I'd be curious what comes up for you when you draw your current and future state. The next step is finding your why. I don't know if many of you have heard of Simon Sinek. He does a great video at TED Talk on finding your why. And really, your why is about how you bring your unique gifts into the world and how you most want to make a difference. So for me, my why is about empowering others to find and design the life that lights them up. Because I know when people are lit up and on fire and excited about what they're doing in life, everything changes. It means that people are more engaged in their community. They're more successful at work. Did you know that being happy leads to success, not the other way around? So when people find their own happiness, and they leads to more success. When people are excited about the work they're doing, they're more successful. They empower others at work. Our companies and organizations do better. Our children do better at school. People are more likely to volunteer in their community. They're more likely to contribute to the world in a positive way. And I know we all need more of that right now. That is my why. Now, the last tip you can do is change your question. I don't know about you, but I used to get up in the morning and ask myself, what do I have to do today? Well, think about it. Is that really an inspiring question? Does that really help you reach your life's purpose and to show up in a new way? Doesn't to me. So what if we changed that question? What if we said, what's the one thing I could do today that would take me a step closer to my purpose? Or who do I know today that I could reach out to that would help me live more fully in this world? Or who do I know that could support me in this work so I can make an even greater impact? Do you notice how those questions are very different and would give you a very different answer than what do I have to do today? So I encourage you, when you're thinking about what you're asking yourself in the morning, come up with some empowering questions, those that help you think to a more inspired future, something that's bigger, something that's more vibrant, something that really brings you alive. So I'd love to share with you the story of Jennifer. So Jennifer was a healthcare executive that I worked with. And she said, you know, I was struggling to land that one thing that really excited me, that I could genuinely see myself doing for years down the road. And Laura helped me confirm I was on the right path as a fitness trainer and gave me the courage, confidence, and conviction to succeed. Jennifer was an executive in the healthcare sector. And when she went through, was impacted by a restructuring, she tried for about 5 or 6 years to find that next thing that would light her up. And what she really landed on when we worked together, she landed on this idea. She really wanted to help people get fit and eat well. She wanted to work with people that weren't comfortable going to the gym. She wanted to work with people that it's not part of their lifestyle already. She wanted to work with middle-aged people that were couch potatoes, and she wanted to inspire them to get off the couch and get fit and live a happy life. And that was her purpose. That was what she was inspired to get up and do every day. Now she's almost done her personal training and nutrition counseling, and she's just working on how to pivot her business in this new world of COVID. Mindset is the second, it's the first step that I often work with people on when we get started, because I often find that mindset holds us back. And until we can get rid of the mindset issues that are standing in our way, there's no use talking about where we're going next or where we want to move to. And so we want to get rid of limiting beliefs or patterns of thought that stand in our way. And so what I'd love to do right now is share with you some of the thought patterns that I hear people share with me. And then we're going to do a breakout room, and you'll have an opportunity in your breakout room to share what's holding you back. And with your partners, you can work on one of these tools to help you get rid of that mindset and move past it. So here's a great example that you can apply this to your very own life today. Okay, so pay attention here so that when you get to your breakout rooms, you are clear and can help each other on blasting past your mindset. So have a look at this diagram here. Tell me, enter in the chat box. I'd love you to just enter, what is it that you're seeing in this picture? Anyone? What do you see when you look at this?
It's like a monkey climbing a tree.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So I'm seeing a couple of monkeys, and I'm seeing a tree, and then I also see someone says a roaring tiger. Can anyone see the tiger? I know one person saw it because you put it in the chat box. Anyone else see the tiger? So can you see my mouse as I move it on the screen? Yes, okay. So here is the monkey, right? A couple arms here. This is the head, the ear, the eye, the nose, a leg down here, another leg here, and a tail. Does everyone see that? Okay, and now the tiger is here. Here's the ear of the tiger. Here's the eye in black, the nose, and the mouth and the chin. So what, and here's a paw down here. Okay, beautiful. So mindset is a lot like perspective. There's two different ways we can look at things often. So in any event, there's almost like a double-edged coin. It's like a coin. You could look at it from one side or the other. We have a natural negativity bias that we were talking about earlier, where we tend to see the negative. So we need to train ourselves often to see the positive or to see the other view of things. So what I hear often is people often have their self-talk holding them back. They might have beliefs that no longer serve us. They might be afraid to spend the time or money. They might think we can do it on our own, or they might convince themselves that now isn't the right time. They might worry about what others would think, or they might be fearful. Show me a hand if any of that resonates with you. Do any of those things sound familiar? Oops, sorry, I'm losing the slide on you. Am I seeing any yeses there about, does that resonate with anyone? I see one yes. All of the above. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah. All right. Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you for participating. I really appreciate that. That's lovely. Okay. So let's talk about how we can get through these roadblocks and bust them together. Okay. So Ray was a client of mine who was a teacher. And she came to me and she was afraid. She really knew her purpose was to work in an organization to convince people to go vegan. In other words, to stop eating meat. And she was a teacher and she had resigned from her job. and was wanting to move towards that new role. And she was stuck in fear and she wasn't moving forward. She wasn't taking the step to even apply for any positions. And so we talked about what she was afraid of. And she said, I'm afraid I'm not going to be successful. I'm afraid that my skills just aren't transferable. And so we talked about what would happen if that did happen. So if she went to work for that company, if she went to work for an organization on veganism, if she found her skills weren't transferable and she was to fail, what would happen then? What would be the worst case scenario? And she said to me, oh, she said, and I said, well, what would you do if that worst case scenario happened? She said, oh, that's easy. And then she was done and she moved forward. Within 2 months, she had the job of her dreams in the area that she was looking for. So all it took for her was a plan that if the worst case scenario happened, that she could move forward, for her to move forward. Our brain is looking for completion. We often worry because we don't have an answer to something. So if we're able to give that fear and work it through to the worst case scenario and have a plan, often that allows us to move forward. So that's one tool that you can use. Another tool is by challenging our thoughts. Okay, so by saying that is not true because, or another way to look at this is, those two tools make us look at the other side of the coin. Because I might say to myself, I might say, well, now's not the time for me to be looking for a new job. COVID is here and all sorts of people are out of work. I can add one of these frames and I can say, well, that's not true because, and then I can say, well, there are job openings out there. There are new industries and some industries are actually growing in this challenging time. And so it does make sense for me to start looking and to move forward. Does that make sense? Just give me a yes if you've got that. Beautiful. Thumb up there and a yes. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. And so now what we're going to do is put you in breakout groups. We're going to be in groups of 3 or 4, and I invite you to take off your, put your video on and take yourself off mute. Introduce yourself to your colleagues, and I'd love you to share what's holding you back. And then I'd like you to challenge that thought. So use one of these phrases to challenge this thought. So you may want to take a picture of this with your phone so that you've got these, or a screen share so that you've got these two phrases that you can use in your group. So what I'd love you to do is share your name and what's holding you back. And then I'd love you to use one of these phrases to counter that thing that's holding you back. And so we're going to give you about 8 minutes in your breakout group. So that's, if there's 4 people, that's about 2 minutes each. So maybe one of you could keep track of time just to kind of keep you on. And then 1 minute before, I'm going to call everyone back to the group. If you're not able to join a breakout group, that's fine. Just don't accept the invitation to join one. Okay? And so now, Cindy, if you could go ahead and actually let me ask, are there any questions before you go to your breakout groups? What questions do you have? Feel free to unmute yourself and jump in if you have a question. Okay, I'm not seeing any. So with that, then Cindy, if you could send everyone off on their breakout groups, that would be awesome. So again, you're going to introduce them with your name, one thing holding you back, and you're going to counter that thought with one of those 2 expressions, looking at the other side. That's not true because, or another way to look at it is. Okay, beautiful. All right, we'll see you back here in 8 minutes. Thanks so much. Bye. So if you haven't yet, you can accept the invitation to join a breakout room. I encourage you to do that if you're able. That would be super. Joyce, no problem that you're late. You're welcome to be here, and you can join a breakout room. Feel free to take advantage and chat, introduce yourself to the group, and just take a minute and feel free to learn from them. And they'll share with you one thing that's been holding them back, and then how you can counter it with these two expressions. One being that's not true because, and another way to look at it is. And so maybe what I'll do, Joyce, if you aren't comfortable joining the breakout room, if you want to stay here with me, we could even try one of those together. So let's do one here. Does anyone in this group want to share with me? You can enter it in the chat box or take yourself off mute and share with me one thing that is holding you back right now.
Hello, this is Joyce.
Hi, Joyce. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Sorry, I just saw the post, so I just came.
Beautiful. Good to have you. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you. I think one thing is holding me back now is I can't really kind of balance between my family and my work. Oh, is it cut off?
They say to us, or limiting beliefs we have. And so I'm curious, is there anything that's holding you back?
Okay, I was cut off for a few seconds, so is it good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking because now I have a little bit trouble on, like I am kind of replanning and rethinking of my career. Like
Yeah.
I'm just searching like some other opportunities, and also I am doing some trying, and like I'm trying some doing some business online and learning new stuff, but at the same time I have to take care of my two children. So my two kids, they're young and they need me to they need my company. So
So you've got lots on your plate.
Yeah. Like I sometimes, because I am still struggling about myself, like I don't know where I am, and but they need me as well. Sometimes like stay with them, I fall into a bad mood, and I just can't really focus on that.
Yeah. So first of all, let me just say that it's totally normal, right? And I encourage you to be gentle with yourself, and also just recognize like you've got a lot on your plate right now. It's a pretty challenging time in COVID, and even more so when you have two little ones at home and you're trying to figure out what's next for yourself. And I just want to celebrate the way that you've already taken steps, right? You're already taking courses and you're doing stuff online. And so I just want to celebrate the positive things that you're doing to move forward. I'm curious, are there any mindsets that keep showing up for you? So when you're having a bad day, are there things that you say to yourself like, oh, this is stupid, or there's no point in me doing this? Or do you notice any of those things that you say to yourself?
Yeah, I always feel like I did nothing really good. Like, I didn't do one thing well. Like, I feel like I didn't really pay too much attention to my child. It wasn't a good company sometimes, and didn't spend enough time with them. And also when I do my work, I feel like I didn't achieve much as well. Like, I feel like I didn't achieve anything.
Yeah. So I totally get it. And what I'm hearing you're saying is essentially you're doing exactly the same thing that I often do, which is focusing on the negative, right? We're focusing on the things we didn't do instead of the things we did. And so I encourage you to turn that statement around. And so when you find yourself saying, oh, I didn't do anything well today, what if you added to the end of that sentence, that's not true because, what would you say then?
Because I did something. That's not.
Yeah, right? Yeah, beautiful.
Maybe make a list of things that I have done.
Yes, awesome. And the other expression we were talking about is another way to look at it is, that's another expression you can use when you find yourself kind of beating up on yourself, right? Another way to look at it is, well, I did a pretty good job. I got some things done. You know, I spent some time with my child. Like, I love the way you're focused on the things that were working, right? The things you did get done.
Just like sometimes, like I don't even want to do anything, you know, I just want to rest. Because I just want to be like off charging, you know, like I don't want to
Yes.
and just staying there and sitting there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't just stay here and wasting my time.
Well, let's be honest. There are some times when it's good. We do need to recharge, right? And so it's important to understand whether are you recharging or are you just avoiding things, right? And so you can think about that as you spend your time to say, okay, is this a good use of my time? Is it really filling me up? Is it recharging my battery? Or am I just numbing myself? Am I just doing something because I can't deal with stuff anymore to avoid it, right?
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm just avoiding things
Yeah.
because too much.
Sure, and we all do. So I just want to thank you,
Is that
Cindy. 1 minute left. Beautiful. Yeah.
is avoiding kind of recharging? I don't know. Sometimes you just want to kind of like a break, you know, and
Yeah.
stop thinking it. I
So
don't.
I hear two different things. I hear sometimes I want to break and sometimes I'm avoiding.
Yeah, yeah,
There's two different things, right?
yeah.
And you can ask yourself questions around what you really need. Yeah. Do I really need a break right now? Or am I just avoiding doing something?
Yeah, but how, like sometimes even I know I'm avoiding, but how do I escape from that trap? You know, I just because I don't have a solution, so I just kind of
Yeah.
stuck there.
Yeah. So the trick is really about doing the opposite. It's really about taking action. So you could ask yourself a different question and say, what is one really small thing I could do right now that would take me closer to that goal? And often our goals are so big that it feels overwhelming. And so if your goal feels overwhelming, you need to break it down into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces so that, you know, you can break it down into, okay, what's one thing I could do in 10 minutes that would help me take a step forward? Maybe it's just sending an email. Maybe it's just reaching out by phone. So that's a beautiful example. And I just want to thank you, Joyce, for sharing that. And I'm noticing the rest of the group is all coming back in. So that's beautiful. Thank you. And I'm going to ask as people come back in also, whether anyone wants to share that experience that they went through in their breakout groups and what they learned. I think we've got almost everyone back now. So tell me, would anyone like to share how that breakout group went and what they got out of it? There's our last group back. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So first of all, welcome back from your breakout group. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had an opportunity to meet some other colleagues. And I'm also hoping that you got something from that. What did you learn about countering your mindset? Did you come up with a strategy to address it, to move forward anyway? Is there anyone that would be comfortable sharing? I'd love it if you would just take yourself off mute and share with us for a moment. That would be beautiful. Joyce, you're off mute there. Would you like to share?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I really like what you just suggested. Like when you are actually avoiding things, the best thing to do is to take actions. Even small steps will work for you. Is better than just staying there. I think this is a really good coping strategy, and I'm gonna try that. Like take very small steps each time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Joyce. That's great. Anyone else want to share? Okay. All right, so appreciative, Joyce, of you sharing that. Thank you for that. Okay, so now we're going to move forward and talk. We're just going to wrap things up here. We're running towards the end of the presentation, and so I'm just going to flip back here to the slides. And here we were talking about how to challenge our thoughts and say that's not true because. So if Joyce, I'm just going to ask permission. Are you okay if I use the example you gave, you shared with me about that we did this with earlier?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, thanks. So Joyce and I were chatting and she was saying that some days ended and she would say, I didn't get anything done today, or I didn't do anything well today. And so what she did was she added this line at the end of that saying, that's not true because, and then that allowed her to see what she did accomplish that day. It allowed her to look at the other side of the coin. So Jennifer, I noticed you're off mute there. Did you have something you wanted to add, or Pema? Anyone? No? Okay. All right, beautiful. So in a minute, and not just yet, at the end, I'm going to share with you, if you're interested in working together and having a free discovery call about how I use tools like these to help people move forward, I'll let you know just at the end on how you can get in touch with me. So I talked a little bit about Ray earlier. So Ray was the teacher, and she was lost and terrified after she quit her job as a teacher. She was overwhelmed and full of doubt, procrastinating and ready to give up. And then she says to me, in only 2 months, I managed to go from jobless to living my dream. For the first time, I was getting paid to do exactly what I loved doing. Laura knows exactly what you need to grow into the person you are meant to become. And she is absolutely living her work right now. I can tell you it's awesome to see her thriving. So with Joyce, we are also talking about the importance of momentum and action. So we don't have time today to get into this in any more detail, but that's the third important step, is you've got to keep moving. You've got to take little tiny steps to keep moving forward. So often we just say stopped because we don't have clarity on our future step, but it's a bit like a car running out of gas. If you let the car totally run out of gas and it actually is stopped, and you have to get out of the car from behind and push it to get it started, it's really hard to get it going. But when it's already moving, it's so much easier to steer. So designing your life is a bit like that. You want to have momentum because when things are moving, it's easier to steer where you want to go. So keep that in mind. Don't be like a car that's run out of gas. Keep your foot on the pedal and take small actions, whatever they are, just small ones is fine. And then we talked about how important habits are. 40% of our lives are repeated every day. That includes the thoughts we think. So consider what habits you have and if they're supporting you in being successful, or if you need to cultivate new habits. So Nicole was a teacher, and she came to me when she was under a lot of stress. She had just changed a job. So she was just starting a new job, and her dad had ALS, and his end of life was coming. And she had come home from overseas to live with her mother, and was stressed and wasn't dealing with things very well. And what she said was, I feel so much better now. I feel like I'm more self-aware of my negative thoughts. I'm more calm and I have a better perspective. And just shortly after this, she wrote this testimonial. She sent me a little email and she goes, Laura, I need your address. I want to send you flowers. I got that new job. She was so excited. It was so much fun to see. I love to see her lit up like that. So today we've covered a lot of different things. We've covered why it is so hard to move forward when we're in a place of fear and stress. We've talked about how important it is to manage our mindset, to notice those things that are holding us back and to shift our perspective. We've talked about how getting clear on our end point, getting clear on our future vision. We talked about 5 different ways you can get more clarity, and how it's really important to keep moving. Even when you don't have clarity on that future, it's like that car that's run out of gas. You want to keep it moving because you can steer it so much more easily when it's in motion. And then lastly, we've talked about habits and how those habits are critical for our success, how we need to keep taking action each and every day to move us forward to that future. So my wish for each and every one of you today is that you have managed to shift that mindset that was holding you back, that you've identified one little thing you can do to take action towards that future vision you have of yourself, and that you will continue to practice habits that support your future success. I've been so grateful to have this time with you today. I so appreciate you showing up. You're going into the breaking groups, your participation in the chat box. Thank you for that. And as a big thank you, I am going to offer each of you a complimentary discovery call. If you're interested in learning more about the work that I do, you can text me 647-226-3021. Text me, I'm in, with your name, and I'd be happy to set up a complimentary discovery call where we can talk more about what specifically is standing in your way and how to blast that out of the way so you've got the crystal clarity and brazen confidence you're looking for in your next step. I wish that for all of you. Thank you so much for coming today. And with that, Cindy, I'm going to turn it over for you. And if there's any questions, we can take those afterwards. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. And I just want everyone to turn on your camera. We're gonna do like a group photo first, and then we will take questions if anyone have any. Are you guys okay to turn on your camera? Okay. So, Jennifer, Eva,
If you feel so inclined, you can imagine that place again on the stage where you're getting that award, and imagine how happy you are, right? You've made your goal. You're excited. Yes.
Pima and Nefemi. Sorry if okay, so we're just gonna
Come on, guys, show some enthusiasm.
okay. So we're just gonna take a photo.
Awesome.
Hi,
Nice to see
Nefemi.
you. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So we're gonna take any Q&A if you have any for Laura. Yeah, she is so excited to meet you. I am so excited to meet you guys. And then I know for some of you guys, it's your first time to join a HBSO Toronto event. Looking forward for more to come. Bud and I, we were thinking to plan a Christmas party at the end of December. So yeah. So for now, do you guys have any questions for Laura? She also put down like her contact information. If you guys need any help, you guys can contact her.
I'll just put my number again in the chat box in case you missed it. And then you can.
Does she charge for that?
So no, I'm offering a complimentary discovery call with you. Yep.
Yeah, so it's that's for
So
free.
no charge for our first call. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So
you can ask any question or just discuss one point, or
I'm sorry.
How would the first session would be like? Can we just ask any questions or discuss one topic or anything? Like how long it will be?
Yeah. So it's usually about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then Nefemi and Pima, and Ahmed, do you have a question?
Yeah.
I see.
Hey, I have a question. First of all, thank you, Laura, for this wonderful presentation.
My pleasure.
When you guys first started, you were talking that it's mainly focused, or you're mainly focused on women. So does that mean that if we want to have a call, would that be something that could we talk about it, or is your studies mainly focused on no. I mean, it might be a very stupid question. I don't know.
It's not a stupid question. So let me say that I do work with men and women. I work with both. I do in my marketing, I target women because that tends to be who my work mostly resonates with. And when they tell you all the marketing stuff, they say, pick a niche, right? They say, be really specific. So I'm specific. But with that being said, I do have a couple men I work with already and have had great success with them also. And it's the same process, right? It's not different if you're a man versus a woman. It's all the same tools. So
all right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
More than welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking forward to seeing you in our next event, and hope everyone have a very good afternoon and enjoy the coming weekend. Okay, bye everyone.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.